Welcome to the Piston Fanatic. I'm your host, Dave Dalton, and I'm excited to share my passion and perspective of our Detroit Pistons as we go on this fantastic voyage together. I've been a diehard Piston fan since the days of Dave Bing and Bob Lanier. I've also been a varsity basketball coach of a very successful program in northern Michigan. Currently, my daughter and I are coaching one of the best AAU teams in the country. Well, Piston fans, the struggles continue, but today we're going to talk about some interesting things. We're going to talk about Scoot Henderson versus Brandon Miller. I've changed my who I'm going to take if I had the choice. And we're also going to talk about Wiseman and Duren together or apart, or what the Pistons need to do going forward with our two young and talented big men. We're also going to just take a look at the tank that we're in the middle of currently. So let's start out with Scoot. So Scoot has been the consensus number 2 pick, a generational talent they called him. Suddenly, there's been a little bit more skepticism. He hasn't quite played as well recently. His decision making's come into question. His shooting percentages aren't very good, and he's an undeniable talent. But now the G League has shut him down, so they don't think his team, the Ignite, will make the playoffs. So they shut him down for the rest of the year. They don't think there's anything for him to gain by playing anymore. So that's an interesting thing. So in the other side of it is Brandon Miller has just come on strong, and Brandon Miller is just playing better and better. And so now my take is I'm all in on Brandon Miller. If we get the number 2 pick, I'm taking Brandon Miller all day. And not to say that I wouldn't be thrilled if we got the 3rd pick, I would take Scoot Henderson still. So it's just even more maybe about Brandon Miller, but he's 6'9". I watched him, he played a game against South Carolina. He scored 41 points. And at the end of regulation, they were down by 2, and he drives it to the basket right through traffic and makes a tough left-handed driving hook shot and ties the game, and then he makes another one at the end of overtime. And so that was one of the knocks on him, that he couldn't drive. So he started out the year, and he was a phenomenal three-point shooter, but he wasn't getting to the basket at all. And so he took some criticism. But during the year, he has improved immensely. But he has the length. And Scoot's barely 6'2". He does have a 6'9" wingspan, which in huge hands. So those are attributes that make a real positive for an NBA player. But just his lack of size and lack of shooting currently, maybe he will develop into a good shooter. But with Brandon Miller, we know he's an elite shooter right now, and his playmaking has stepped up. And again, his length, he rebounds really well in traffic. He's skinny, but I'm confident that he's going to be able to put on weight and muscle onto his frame. I like his frame better than, say, Chet Holmgren, who's always the one that people talk about when they talk about people who are really super thin. So anyway, my take is let's get the number 1 pick and get Victor for sure. And if not, we'll take Brandon Miller. And if we have to settle for Scoot, that will be a great thing, and we'll figure things out with our guards. It is true that Brandon Miller is also the perfect fit for the Pistons, where Scoot is not. Obviously, we have Ivy and Cade, who are really good with the ball in their hands and terrific guards. In the last episode, I talked about how you could easily play everybody 32 minutes or adjust it up and down for each guy, and there's still plenty of minutes, and there's still plenty of touches if you stagger them and play them that way. So, but Brandon Miller is just what we need. We need a 6'9" guy. We need better shooting. And again, I think if we get Brandon Miller, I think we trade Bogey for sure and try to get some valuable asset there. And I just am excited about Brandon Miller. And again, the obvious thing is that he was involved in that incident where a young lady was murdered. And I know Troy will do his due diligence, and he will check out his personality, because again, Troy always picks the person above the player when in doubt. So we will see what happens, and the lottery's not too far away in May, and we'll find out where we're going to pick, and then we'll really have a good idea. But anyway, now I'd like to talk about Wiseman and Duren. So, in some ways, all of our injuries to the post players have kind of worked out, and so somebody's been hurt, so somebody else gets to play more. And it worked out that people were hurt, so Wiseman got to play a lot. At the beginning of the year, people, not me, if you go back and listen to my first podcast, I said, start Duren, play Duren lots of minutes right now. And it took him a while to come around, but finally he's got to do that. It has been an unfortunate thing with Bagley. We never will know, how good he was. He came back from the last injury and he was tearing up the league. And then now things have kind of slid back again, and now he's injured again. So we wanted to play two big guys, and all the numbers show that we aren't as good when we play two big guys. Well, my contention is we haven't given it enough time. Also, who's in the lineup and who's not in the lineup to really know for sure. Most of the time, we haven't played with two big guys, but I still really want to see Bagley. Not Bagley, excuse me. I want to see Wiseman and Duren play together, and we have never seen that. So now they're the only two healthy bigs. So Casey has the thing that I don't want to get one in foul trouble. So now they're just splitting. I think Wiseman has played a little bit more than Duren since Duren's came back from his ankle injuries. But why can't they at least overlap them and play them a few 10 minutes together? And so then that would give each of them, so we can look at the last four games. Wiseman's averaged 15.5 points on 52% true shooting, 11.5 rebounds, 1.5 blocks, and he's played 27 minutes. So he has a plus 6.7 net rating. Duren has averaged 11.3 points, 9.8 rebounds, 1.5 blocks, and he's shot a real high. His true shooting percentage is also really high. It's even above 52, but I can't remember what it is. But he's played 21 minutes a game. So if you add the 21 minutes, there somehow it seems like there's 1 minute in there that's not. There's 48 minutes in a game, so they're really just splitting the time, except for maybe 1 minute. So his net rating though is minus 11.3. So that would say that Wiseman's better, but it just depends on who you're playing with and who you're playing, the team they're playing against. It's a small sample size, 4 games. I think they're both great. I'm so excited that we have both of them. But again, my thing I say over and over again, what do we have to lose? Why can't we play them at least 10 minutes together? And even if we want to split their minutes and have only one of them on the court at a time. It just is inconceivable to me why we haven't tried it. I mean, when Wiseman plays with Bagley, the numbers haven't shown out to be really good. Or when Bagley's played with Duren, they haven't played good. All three big guys, their numbers are better when they're playing by themselves. The on-court numbers the net rating is better when each big guy plays. So that it shows that the two guy, but there's just so many factors. And again, it's a very small sample size that we have played two big guys together. So that is going to be a challenge going forward. I mean, in the game that we won against the Pacers, those two young men, Duren's 19 and Wiseman's 21, for our center position, which they never played at the same time, our center position had scored 30 points and had 25 rebounds. That's our center, and that is out of this world. So, but in 11 games before this, Wiseman had averaged 8.5 points a game, shot 58%, 12.5 rebounds, and I'm sorry, this is per 36. So that's again what I've talked about this before. So his stats per 36. So if you would projected his numbers over 36 minutes, Wiseman would be, and that's 11 games he's played with the Pistons, 18.5 points, 58%. 12.5 rebounds, 1.7 blocks. Duren 55 games, would average 12.6 points, 63% shooting, 12.7 rebounds, and 1.3 blocks. Bagley, over 36 minutes, in 33 games he's played, would score 18 points, 53% shooting, 10.7 rebounds, and 1.2 blocks. So those are all good numbers per 36. And, I just would love to see the two, Wiseman and Duren, play together more. And I don't know what Casey is concerned about. And, here we're playing games. We're playing. Listen to this is hard for Piston fans. I'm watching the games. I'm watching every minute. But we got guys out there called Rodney, Eugene, RJ, Kojo, and Corey Joseph played in the last game, and he was sick. He was questionable before the game. So I give him shout out to Kojo for wanting to play. Buddy, Jared, Rodney. Yeah, I mean we're playing these guys that aren't even NBA starter levels or rotational players really. And I do really appreciate the way Eugene Amaromi has played. He got a second 10-day contract. Again, he's a 6'7" guy that's really thick and strong, but moves his feet really well. He shot better with the Pistons. He is 26 years old, so you wonder, and again, it's a small sample size, so we'll see. But it's exciting for me. The Spurs won last night. They made 22 threes, and that was one of the most they've ever had in their history. And they're not even a great three-point shooting team, but that was a big win for them. Houston won the other night against the Boston Celtics, and it was a crazy game. It ended crazy. Houston's not a smart team. They take dumb shots, but they got screwed. I mean, they got a lot of bad calls down the stretch of that game, and it's like I don't know why the referees would favor them. But anyway, we'll look forward to this. The remainder of our schedule, and I want us to get I want us to have the worst record, because if you're the worst record, you're guaranteed the fifth pick at worst. If you're the second worst record, you're guaranteed the sixth, and if you're third worst record, you're guaranteed the seventh. So that can matter. That can matter in who we get, and who's to say that we picked the right guy, but it still matters. But our upcoming games are: we play Thursday tomorrow against the Nuggets. And the Nuggets have lost 4 in a row, and they've been losing to everybody. And they have, and I heard, their coach came on and he said that they're soft and they're got, too chill mode, and they're not playing like they're Denver Nugget basketball. So I got to believe that they're going to come out on fire against us. So we're playing at home. Then we got the Nets, and the Nets are fighting for playoff positioning, so they should be giving us their best effort. Then we play at the Hawks and at the Raptors, and so those are two teams that we possibly could beat, but our odds would be way better at home, but we're playing them on the road. Then we play the Bucks at home, and they're kind of right now a machine that have to play at the Thunder, and they had some big games lately, and they're fighting for playoff positioning, and they're playing really well, and they got a bunch of really young guys. Then the game of the year. The game of the rest of the season, the biggest game by far, is we are playing at the Rockets on March 31st. So that will be a big game to see what happens. Then we play at the Magic, and we play the Heat and the Nets, and then at the Pacers. Who knows who they'll be playing on there, if they'll be sitting everybody again, or at the Bulls for our final game. So I don't know about the Pacers. They sat Tyrese Halliburton, and for those 2 games against the Pistons, now he's day-to-day, and so is Miles Turner. So I got to think that they just sat those guys against us, and I don't know. I can't get mad at people for tanking, because we're tanking. So I don't know. Obviously, at this stage of the game, I think that if we were to playoff fight, we would be playing some of our players that we're not playing. But it's really, really hard. The guys that we have on the court, they're battling so hard. But for you, we won that one game against Indiana. What did that do us? We got guys who aren't ever going to be in our rotation next year, playing all the minutes, and Rodney and Kojo, they were on fire, and and those guys were battling, but Indiana wasn't playing any of their good players either. So none of that really matters. To win a game here and there, it doesn't matter, but to lose a game here and there can make a difference. So anyway, I just want to thank you for watching, and we're down the home stretch. Got a lot coming up about the draft and different possibilities of our rotation going forward. We got John Beeline that's going to be a guest coming up down the road, and I just want to thank you for listening. It means so much to me that you take the time to listen to anything I would have to say. I know you might have different opinions, but please go to YouTube and subscribe. Click on subscribe, and then click on the thumbs up sign. If you're listening on Spotify, give a 5-star rating, leave some comments. I do my best to answer them. Do something nice for somebody today. It makes a difference in their life. You can make just one kind word to even a stranger or a family member, and it can make their day. So Thank you for listening, and go Pistons.